Thanks for coming. I'd like to call to order this May 11th, 2026 meeting of the Snohomish County Fire District 4 Board of Commissioners. Please stand and join me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Records show that all three commissioners are here present. We have a guest speaker tonight, and I would like to, the original agenda had her later in the meeting, and I was going to ask her to move that. So she just sits there and bring this. So that is already taken care of. Any other changes to the agenda? All right. The minutes of the April 14th meeting were distributed. Any corrections, additions, deletions, modifications?
None for me.
Now is the time of the meeting where members of the public may address the commission on topics that are not on the agenda.
My name is Aaron Hammer. I'm an executive board member with Local 2694, which is the professional firefighters that serve the residents of the Snohomish County Fire District 4. And on behalf of our membership, I'd like to thank the board for their continued support of the department and their continued support of the community alongside of us. We appreciate the ongoing partnership between the board, labor, and administration as we continue moving forward together. Our members remain dedicated to providing the highest level of care and service to the community, and we look forward to continuing to work collaboratively on the opportunities and challenges. Thank you for your time, your leadership, and your continued support of the department.
So public comments typically don't require a response from the board, but thank you. I appreciate your input there, and the feeling is mutual. At least I personally truly appreciate the relationship we have through the chief to the local and directly to the local someone. It's a relationship that often isn't good in fire departments. Well, I won't say often. Sometimes isn't good in fire departments, and I feel blessed that we have that great.
In my eyes, all members of the fire department, no matter what their duty is or what their rank is, hold the same value, and our employees are our most valued asset that we have. So it's important that we have a good relationship with all of our employees, no matter what they're at.
We're fortunate this evening to have Lisa LeBlanc here from Evergreen Health.
Yes.
To give us some information about what's going on with Evergreen Health.
Yes. Do you want us to stand up there?
If you want to sit right there, you can. Or you
can
I
stand
think it's
up.
better if
Whatever
maybe
you
stand up
feel
with
more
our team,
comfortable.
actually. It's not just me,
Okay.
but I have my executive team with me. Thank you for having us here. I am Lisa LaPlante. I am the Chief Administrative Officer of Evergreen Health Monroe and the Superintendent of the Snohomish County Public Hospital District Number 1. And hopefully you have our slides. Hey, that's not mine, not mine. It is a nice one. All right, that's us. That's us, thank you so much. All right, and so as we go through, I will introduce our team as we transition through our slides, but we are very excited and thank you so much for having us here today. We have exciting things that are happening at our public hospital district, which is your local community hospital. And we're very excited to be here to share those. It's still not my cat.
Those aren't our
How long
houses.
you
Not
laughing?
our house is on
What do you-
fire.
what do you like?
There we are. That's us.
Great.
Are we over? Oh, there we go. So our purpose of today's meeting is to share where the local community hospital is at and our current constraints with our facility and our capacity, as well as our visibility into long-range planning for a new replacement hospital, and gather insights from all of you in the future planning and communication. So how can we keep connected with you as we go, hopefully, into the design for a new hospital for our whole public hospital district? It's our public hospital, and so how do we make that a public hospital that means something for you and what you need? So this is really the purpose of our education today. Next slide, please. So Evergreen Health Monroe is, again, your community hospital. Snohomish County Public Hospital District number 1, doing business as Evergreen Health Monroe. The big deal is that there's not many hospitals that are locally controlled throughout the whole nation, right? There's big companies, corporations. We are not controlled by some company somewhere else. We have local control. We are the public hospital district for Snohomish County. And so that means we have commissioners that are elected from our district. So we have 5 public commissioners that serve 6-year terms, elected officials. We've had some of our commissioners that have been on our board for over 30 years. Some newer commissioners. It changes, as you all know. But it's that local voice that matters, and that's what drives what we do every day. And all of our funding for our public hospital district comes back into our community. So nothing can go anywhere else. It comes back into our organization, whether it be through salaries, expansion, renovation, expanded access. It all comes back to our community and our public hospital district. Next slide. So here you can see our district. The top in teal is the Snohomish County Public Hospital District, which is pretty big. It's one of the biggest hospital districts in Washington. It is bigger than the state of Rhode Island that I grew up in, which is pretty small, but it's bigger than that. And then you can see in the green there, that is the King County District, and that is Evergreen Health and Perkins. So being neighboring districts, 2 public hospital districts that are working together, it's very beneficial throughout our organization, and we continue to grow. So we go all the way from almost Mill Creek to way past Index, and we are the first full-service hospital from here to Wenatchee. And if you think from here to Wenatchee, that's a long distance, especially on a Sunday or what. Next slide, please.
Only the stoplight is sold.
Well, you get a roundabout, it'll fix everything.
Yeah.
So I'm going to turn it over to our Chief Nursing Officer, Megan Marshey.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having us this evening. So Lisa just showed you the size of our district. I'm sure it's no surprise to all of you that live out here in this area that we are growing. It's a growing district for sure, as many folks come to reside out in this area for multifaceted reasons, really. And so what we want to show here is that we know and understand from some community research we've done, between the years 2024 and 2029, we're expected to grow about 3% on average across our hospital district. If you look at the table on the left-hand side, this is specifically looking at some zip codes within our Evergreen Health Monroe Hospital District proper. And you can see that both Monroe and Sultan are growing at a rate that's higher than that. Monroe at 3.6% and then Sultan at 4.5% respectively. So increased growth, and I think those of us that live in that area definitely feel it with lots of housing going up, congestion, just lots of demand on services. The right-hand side there of the table is zip codes that immediately surround our hospital district, which we draw from that as well. We're certainly increasing some of that market share and demand of who is coming to utilize our services. And so you can see a lot of growth in those areas as well. I won't go through all of them, but all but 2 are listed at above that 3% growth. So all that to say, we have a lot happening within growth within the district. Next slide. So to talk a little bit more about that, we looked at the last 4 years, and what we've seen here is a 50% increase of unique patients coming to utilize our services within those last 4 years. So this encompasses all of our hospital district. It's not just the hospital. It's our clinic services in Sultan and in Monroe. But again, just really showing that need for services has increased quite a bit over that time. Next slide. To break that down a little bit further here, this is looking at some individual service lines within our hospital. On the upper left-hand side, you can see our emergency department. We really had some volume decreases in 2020 when COVID hit. A lot of hospitals did initially because we were telling people to stay home, right? We only want to see, the sickest of the sick and COVID and trying to contain that. What we've seen in that interim since then is really quite a growth and spike in increase in our census and patient volume. And acuity as well. Patients are coming to us a lot sicker than they did pre-COVID. And then the bottom left-hand graph there is looking at our inpatient patient days. That trend has also gone up, very similar to that same trend you see for emergency department growth, which would make sense when we think about patients that get admitted from our ED. The upper right-hand graph is looking at our surgical volume. Not quite as steep of a trend, but certainly increased where in last year we had about 1,400 surgeries that we did. We are continuing to increase our service lines for surgical care. Our orthopedic surgical line has certainly grown. General surgery as we've brought on more surgeons. Urology, ear, nose, and throat, just to name a couple as we continue to expand. It's really important that as we grow, we're keeping that specialty care close to home for people. And then the bottom right-hand graph, looking at our Monroe Urgent Care. We opened this in April of 2022. Prior to that, there was only one other walk-in clinic kind of within our area, and really, we were quite underserved, as you can see from quite the exponential growth here on these graphs, which has really grown very quickly. It was the fastest growing urgent care within our Evergreen Health system, and has led to increased volume for our emergency department and other hospital services as well. So then taking a look at this even further when we talk about all those services and needs, this is a graph really looking at our inpatient market share. So what has this shown us over the last 10 plus years? And so I'll draw your attention to the green line, which is Evergreen Health as a system. So this includes not only the hospital in Monroe, but also our sister hospital in Kirkland. And you can see in 2022, we surpassed our other regional competitor. And we've overtaken that market share within our hospital district. And we're currently at about 44% of that overall inpatient market share. So what that tells us is that people within the community are seeking our services more and more for a number of reasons. But we certainly have seen that volume increase. Next slide. And I will hand it off to Dr. Scott Stewart, our Chief Medical and Quality Officer.
Right, I know you guys love your data, and this is kind of a geeky slide, but this is this encompasses two of the big service lines that report to me, quality and surgical services. So you can see in that red line, our surgical cases way up since 2020. And what you don't want to happen is with that increased volume, more surgical site infections. And so the predicted surgical site infections are the green line. So with all that growth in our surgical volume, you'd expect our complication rate and infections specifically, which no patient wants that, but sometimes they have to go back to surgery, back to the hospital, they don't want that. So we have a predicted surgical site infection of almost 6, but the blue bars tell you where we're at as far as our actual surgical site infections. And anytime you have a ratio of that green line to the blue bar of less than 1, and we've been less than half of that ratio for a long time, then you're doing pretty well. And so we want to keep that up. We're offering more folks procedures in the hospital district, and we're doing it safer than ever. Next slide. So I'm an internist and a hospitalist, so I work at Monroe, and so I live this every time I'm on service. And so we're at full capacity, and we're at full capacity this weekend too. I mean, it's hard to believe. It's sunny out, it's May, and we're packed to the gills. And so our emergency department, I don't know how they do it, but with 14 beds, they see 60 to 80 patients a day. The math just doesn't even work. And when I go in there and I'm admitting new patients, I kind of see how they do it, lots of folks in the hallways and things like that. But it's amazing what they do to move patients through there. And that's with a modern emergency department where there's psychiatric folks, all sorts of different folks. inpatient capacity. We started this morning with 22 patients, and we have room for another couple. We always seem to have a couple of rooms that are getting remodeled because it's an old facility, and we're going to open up another 4 beds of telemetry, which will be great this fall, and so we'll be able to keep more folks with TIAs, strokes, heart attacks, things like that, atrial fibrillation going too fast. So by fall, we'll be up to 30 beds, but that's going to be about our cap. We don't have overflow, not like other hospitals, and so that's it right there. And so juggling our telemetry, our progressive care unit beds, our house supervisor, again, they have to be math majors just like the emergency department. Our aging infrastructure. And really the next couple categories, I would say, I'll tell you a story where I have a patient about a month ago that needs an echocardiogram, right? In all of our tiny rooms, to get the echocardiography machine in the room, all the patient's family has to go out of the room. All of the furniture has to go out, and then they push in the echo machine, and then they're able to do it just because it's so small. We have some rooms where we have air handlers that are going straight to the window. I mean, we do what we can. We are compliant with all the regulations that we need to be, but it's a challenge, and you're going to hear more about that aging infrastructure. But the statistic I hear a lot is that we have parts of the building that have a foundation that's 100 years old. It just blows my mind. Load challenges between the emergency department going at full bore, us being packed in the inpatient rooms of busy surgical services. It goes without saying that flow is a challenge, and you guys feel that. Limited room for growth. We're really landlocked. We remodeled a bunch of times. It's like that old house where you probably can't remodel no more, and then outdated care spaces like I described in the small rooms that make it a challenge to have a family conference and have all the right folks in the room. It's just not like big, so it's a challenge.
All right, so planning for the next generation of care. After all of this, in 2023, our board came together and said we really needed to come up with a master facility plan. And so that's what we did. We've been working on it since 2023, really looking at all those things, growing demand for care, that aging infrastructure. We had to come up with a solution for that. And expanding access to emergency services and specialty services, which we continue to do. Even as we're heading towards hopefully a new hospital, we're going to continue to expand and add. We got a cardio, ENT, all of those things, and we'll continue to expand. Snohomish, we're coming into Snohomish. And then future clinical needs across the region. What does that look like? And how we had to look at 5, 10, 15 years out. What are the needs throughout really our district? And next slide. So what we came up with after a lot of needs assessments and going through all of that information is 3 different phases. And so phase 1 is our continue to grow in place. And so we've invested about $7.2 million in continuing to grow in place. So right now, we are about to go into construction. We just, I think, accepted a bid on construction of our expansion of the ED. That will give us 4 additional beds. And so we're caring for patients in the hallways in our ED. We've gone from, during COVID, we were seeing about 20-something patients. We're now seeing between 60 and 80. So that growth is a lot. And so we're giving really great care, but that's not the best experience for anyone, the providers or the patients, right? So ED expansion, $7.2 million in that. We are bringing in the intensive care unit. We're bringing that back. That shut down during COVID because of staffing. Continue to bring all of those specialty services I talked about. Equipment upgrades, just lab upgrades. We have to do renovations to even bring the analyzers into a room. So a lot of investment there. Phase 2 is expanding access into the district. So, you know, okay, we're Evergreen Health and Rural, but we're not. We are Snohomish County Public Hospital District number 1. We expand from almost Mill Creek to past Index. And so how do we expand access into our entire district? And so we recently purchased the Sky River building that is in our parking lot. And so that has all the clinics. It's never been owned by the hospital. So this now allows us to control that building and really access and figure out what the best access is. Also allows us for potential new hospital replacement. And the Stonewich Clinic, and hopefully you've all heard about the Stonewich Clinic, next to Safeway, between Safeway and Hagen's, which I think is a really great place to be. We searched long and hard. It was a strategic mission for not only us, but our system as a whole, so including Kirkland, to really come into Snohomish. Okay, this is our district. Snohomish is the biggest part of our district that we have not been. And so we searched high and low. We looked at buildings that were in place. We looked at land. What's that called? The Cemetery Creek land? No? Cemetery Creek, that's near Coles, over that way. We looked at land over there. And finally, I'm going to say it wrong, thank you, Bartell's space came open. And so we have leased that space, but if you think about a pharmacy, that's basically you walk in, it's a bunch of shelving. We have to make exam rooms in every single one of those. We're making 30 exam rooms, so sinks in every exam room. So it's gonna take about 12 months of construction. But we're trying to bring as many things that we can, services. We're doing the mobile coach for 3D mammography. We're doing car seat checks, and we're gonna bring the blood donation van out. So as many things as we can start bringing out to that site. But we're really excited because it's going to be primary care, urgent care, mammography, lab services, and imaging. And so we are looking at, like I said, 30 exam rooms, 7 primary cares, and 5 urgent care providers is what I believe in one right now. And then phase 3 is our replacement hospital. Again, you heard that we're on a 100-year-old foundation. It's been added on for 8 years, 8 times, not 8 years, 8 times. And efficiencies don't come when you add in. Our PD cannot go anywhere. We can't go up, we can't go out. So we really have to come up with a plan. And this is the most efficient plan that we can come up with. And so you'll hear more about the details of that. But what we're doing now is our board did pass that we are going on the August 4th ballot for a UTGO. You'll hear more about that from Ann here in a little bit. But once that passed, what we have done is started with our internal staff and really educating on everything and getting feedback on what does a new hospital need to do and what are those needs. We want to do that with our first responders. Really important that our first responders have feedback on what a new hospital means. We're talking about having a helipad there, right? What does it mean when you come in and you are transporting a patient? What's most important to you? So we'll talk a little bit more about that. And then community education. Because a lot of people are like, oh, I thought the local hospital was Providence. It's not. So yes, those are the 3 phases that we have come up with. And so then growing in place. So purchase of the Sky River Medical Building, that's a building that's in our parking lot. It's never been owned by the hospital. We just recently purchased that, and that is very strategic so that we can not only build in place, be able to use that land, but then use that building to figure out what clinics and what makes the most sense there and be able to control that space. We purchased a 1-acre parcel of land right next to the hospital, so that like as we're doing this, hopefully we can use that for parking, whether that be for patients or for staff, we're not sure yet, but as you know, when you do construction, shuttling people in and out is not the most convenient thing. We talked about the emergency department expansion. Right now, we've accepted the construction company, it sounds like, and we estimate completion of that in Q4 of 2026. Reopening our intensive care unit, very important to us. We have a 4-bed intensive care unit that shut down during COVID. And we're going to make it an intensive care progressive care unit so we can have a lot more flexibility until we open our new hospital. Then you can see all the expansion of services. Hopefully you've heard about these, urology, neurology. Stress Echo is about to open Q2 2026. New laboratory analyzers. We're going to be able to do a lot more things locally and get results here locally a lot quicker. And for anyone who's run ambulance, our CT scanner. We bought a CT scanner in 2020, installed it, and we have had so many problems with that thing. And every time CT scanner goes down, we have to go into work. So that means ambulances have to go elsewhere, which is not what we ever want. And so now we have a mobile CT, so we can replace our internal CT. And then until we build it in the hospital, we're gonna keep the second. So we have redundancy. If one goes down, we have backup, so we never have to divert. Knocking on
Knock
wood,
on
never
wood,
have
yes.
to divert ambulances again, you're not wood, sorry. But that's some of the stuff that we're investing in now, what we're trying to think about replacing for the hospital. Next slide. Snowish Clinic, I really hope everyone here has heard about our Snowish Clinic, we are so happy about this. And so, I already talked about it, urgent care, primary care, imaging, so it takes quite a while. We do anticipate opening in early 2027. And really, I feel like this is our first big presence in Snohomish. I think there will be more in the future. Next slide. All right, and so phase 3 is replacement hospital. So spring 2025, we completed pre-design. Takes a long time to do this stuff, anyone who's been part of construction. We have selected our architects. Our architects are they have built many hospitals together, so a lot of experience, and so we're excited about that. And then March 31st, our Snohomish board voted to pursue a new replacement hospital and place a UTGO on the August 4th bed. Next slide. I'll turn it over.
Okay, so as Lisa mentioned, the last couple of years have been filled with pre-design for master facility planning and really taking into consideration what do we know about our community health needs assessment, what has that told us, what do we know about the data and the growth within our district, of course those things we've already talked about, and then make some initial assumptions so we can get to this point. And so when we think about that, hospital design, which we plan to look at within our current hospital campus, would be just under 200,000 square feet. We are starting actual design, that process now in May, and then we do know that we're going to have to relocate all of those clinics we currently have within the hospital. As we've brought some of those specialty services in, they will need to go to our Sky River Pavilion. So all of this phase, purchasing that building last August has been part of this planning as we work to move all of this together. Improving inpatient and surgical access. We know that we're going to need a minimum of 50 inpatient beds. Right now, today, we're running 26. As Lisa mentioned, we're going to add 4 additional in our PCU ICU, but we know we need to grow, right? Part of this process has been thinking about what do we need 10 to 15 years from now and then beyond that, right? How can we project that growth as best as possible and really think about that? We're licensed for 72 beds currently today. So we also want to make sure that we can expand up to that 75 to 100 in the future. We want flexible units that are capable of being able to adapt to higher levels of acuity, like we talked about even in this 4-bed unit we're going to bring online. Having a progressive care unit and an ICU really allows for patient movement and even resources and nursing cohorts to be a lot easier. So we're looking at that kind of a design. Expanding our operating and procedure rooms. We know we need a minimum of 6 ORs in the new facility. We have 3 today. And as we have really continued to improve our partnership with our Evergreen Health Medical Group and bring out those specialty services, we have increased all of that need for capacity within our ORs and procedure spaces. So a minimum of 5 procedure rooms. Again, we really want to look at how can we make those as adaptable as possible. So it's not just a procedure room for a specific specialty, but can really serve itself in multiple ways. Improving emergency access, that's a big one. We've talked a bit about our ED and how kind of landlocked it is today, the volume increases we've seen, the flow challenges we have. So, really want to take all of that into consideration. We're looking at a minimum of 24 private exam rooms for that, with rooms that would be convertible for behavioral health patients. We don't have that today for an option, so we're really wanting to make that a lot safer for our patients and our staff. And just creating a clearer and more safe emergency entrance. We still have some folks who will come to our EMS entrance thinking that's the main area to come in. As Lisa mentioned, an on-site helipad, we don't have that today as well. So if we do have to helicopter patients out, which does happen, it's quite a bit of coordination with critical care transport across the highway to the little airstrip across the way to get them out. So certainly looking at increasing that access. And then really right-sizing our departments. How do we make sure we can increase efficiency, flow, make it easier for our staff, a better experience for our patients, and then modernization and technology, right? All those things that we can't implement today, and making sure we're thinking about for the future, and really having a thoughtful approach to make sure we can grow with this building. Next slide, I'll hand it back to Lisa.
I just want to do a little bit of a time check. I don't know where we're at.
You're fine.
All right, perfect. We're almost done. Okay, so to the left side of your screen, so that is current state of the hospital. If you look in the red outline, you can see kind of Highway 2 and the railroad track that go on there. That's where the current hospital is. And if you look in the middle, we don't know that that's going to be the exact placement, but we know that the square footage and everything we need. We've gotten permission to go up to 5 stories, which is a big deal with the airport, which is for sale, and the city. We got approval for 5. We're looking to go up to 4. But that's where the hospital would be, and we would design the hospital, we would build it, and we would be able to exist in place and continue all current services while we continue to expand access while the hospital is built and then switch over. So there would be no shutdown of services while we do this. Next slide. Turn it over to
Okay,
Ann.
so this is my first time covering these couple slides. Thank you for being here, so my colleagues here will tell me if I mess up. So in the state of Washington, there's 57 public hospital districts, and 38 of them are associated with hospitals. And 37 have regular levies, and this is all data that, so that the chart below shows the levy rate per $1,000 of assessed home value. So you can see where Evergreen Health Monroe is the second from the lowest. So we're just under 16 cents per thousand is our current levy rate. And then we talked about Evergreen Health Kirkland, and they're sort of the middle now. They did a levy lift last year, and so they're at 50 cents per thousand. And then you can see it goes all the way up to, gosh, $1.50 per thousand at the very high end. The blue bars stand for the maintenance and operation levy rates, and then if there's an orange bar, that means that that's an organization that has passed a bond. And so they have a levy rate associated with paid bonds. Next slide, did I do it?
We will totally.
Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome
that's
job.
great.
I'll take a job from you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is a tax breakdown. This is a latest piece of house in the city of Snohomish. It's just an average house. And so you can see the pie chart in the upper right. The hospital is, the portion that the hospital gets is circled in red, and it's 1.64% of the total tax dollars today is what is given to the hospital to support operations. And then the lower chart is showing kind of the history going all the way back to 2022 of the Monroe levy rates. And you can see all the way back to 2002, and then kind of sunsetting in 2009, we actually had a bond as well. And so, but similar, I'm sure you're familiar with this concept of, as we have an ability to increase our levy by 1% per year. And when you look at, what happened in our district from 25 to 26, the assessed value went up by 6.5%. So continuing kind of, that's where we see the kind of the chipping away of that per thousand value down to just under 16 cents this year. Next slide, please. Okay, so does everybody know what a UTGO is? I feel like this probably isn't your territory, but I'll cover it just in case. So it's kind of like how we're proposing to pay for this fabulous new hospital. So it stands for Elevated Tax General Obligation. It's a bond, it's a financing tool that's available to public hospital districts to fund large capital projects. And you may already be aware, but it's a voter-approved bond, and it requires that supermajority, so 60% versus the levy limit at that 50%. And why are we pursuing this as an option? It is really the lowest borrowing cost option that's out there for us. So because it's backed by the full taxing authority of the district, it's extremely secure. So investors consider it to be very safe, so it commands a lower interest rate. And when you're talking about a project this size, it's a lower interest rate makes a big difference. And so again, this is a vehicle that's used for very large capital projects. The hospitals, new hospitals can look for this type of a project. Next slide, please. So this is our scenario. So you saw in previous slides that we're looking to our ballot will request permission to sell up to $382 million in bonds. That will be done over 2 issuances. The first would be about a year from now, and the next would be about a year and a half later. So it's a lot of money, so what does that get here? 82 million get us? It gives us construction of the new hospital, so luckily we don't have to buy land, so we have enough land available on our current property that that's not a piece of it. But it's the construction of the new facility, it's fully equipped, so assuming right now that everything is in, because again, we're keeping our existing facility in service right up until the day we move across the parking lot. And then once we move, it's demolition of the majority of the current facility, and then adding parking, flat lot, at least for now, because as Lisa said, parking will be at a premium when this project's underway. The estimated average bond rate for $1,000 of property value is 43.7 cents, and that's pretty constant throughout the term of the bond. And so we looked at kind of what's the average impact for a $745,000 home in our district. And so over the term of the bonds, it averages $489 per year, or $40.75 per month, or just over $1 per day. So however you want to slice it. So year one, it's estimated to be $323, and then growing to $695 by 2015 when the bonds will be retired. And our estimated annual debt service for that new hospital is under $26 million. I think I did this one too, right?
Yep.
This is late to this break, so I want you to take note of that right in the middle, that unsuccessful but this close. We got this cute little number out there. But basically, this is kind of our decision tree. So we are just really focused on being successful in August, and it's really, as we look at different alternatives for financing, using revenue bonds, money limit, all of that, it really just becomes cost prohibitive. So in order to be able to build a replacement hospital, HGO is really critical. So if we're not successful in August and it's, like we say, this close, then we would probably go back out again in November. But if it's not that close, then we'll have to regroup and really evaluate our master facility plan and how do we think about it differently. Next slide. All right, I think I should have this.
Yes, so really our ask here is for you to help us educate on the need for this replacement hospital. Our community deserves it, right? Our district is a very big district. People coming off the pass, all the recreation that happens, we have to be a growing hospital, and our volumes have grown so much. So your insight, and especially, so we're looking for ways to, we have a process with our architects to really get feedback from first responders, because we want to know what your first responders, what they want to experience in the new hospital, what does it mean to them, what's important. And so we really want to hear that. So we would love a way to communicate. We can do Survey Monkey, we can do a lot of different things, but like what is department design and workflow, wall time, right? We talked a lot about wall time and what does that mean? The patient experience, the transport experience. So really how can we work together to get that feedback so we can give that to our architects and really make sure that we are representing our community and what their needs are. So we thank you so much for your time today. I think this might be the last slide. Yes. And then we just leave it up for Q&A. There's going to be a lot of education between now and August 4th in our community. We're doing as much as we can to get this word out there. So appreciate any support we can get, and open to any questions you have.
Thank you. You're free to sit down.
Yeah.
We're free to sit.
Okay, thank you.
Standing alone. So Evergreen Monroe is directly connected with Evergreen and Cookman.
Evergreen and Kirkland?
Yes.
Yes, so we have an affiliation agreement. So we are two separate public hospital districts. So we can't share funds, we have separate contracts, but we work as closely as possible, share protocols. All of our providers are Kirkland Evergreen Health providers. So you receive the same services locally that you would receive in Kirkland.
The growth statistics, what was the source?
For which ones?
For the population growth?
Population growth.
Oh, good question. Let me make sure I should say that. I
Yeah.
can get that information for you. We have, someone that helps look at a lot of that community data for us,
Our
so,
strategic planner.
yeah, we get that information.
The pavilion has tenants now. What happens to those tenants?
The majority of those tenants are ours.
Yes.
They're Kirkland or.
Yeah, we
Oh.
have, yeah, so we have.
Like Monroe Vision.
We have an optometry clinic there, so their lease is through 2030 or 2031. And then we have a physical therapy, nothing of that is all.
Kirkland or Monroe.
Kirkland and Monroe. And we still have some vacancies.
And you said you're licensed currently, licensed for 72. How many
Yes.
beds do you actually have?
We run 26 currently. We plan to add 4 more by the end of the year.
And then with the new hospital, we would have 2 floors of 24, so 48 beds.
Yeah.
With the ability to add another full level with another 24.
Yes, we don't have any
I'm
more.
confused.
Okay.
So we don't,
Currently, you're licensed for 72.
We are,
Correct.
you will not find 72 beds in our organization. We are licensed for 72 beds. We have 26 staff beds.
we've never run
Does that
7.
include the,
No,
No.
no,
No,
those
we
are
don't include
inpatient,
those.
those are inpatient beds. Yeah, that's how they count, yeah, inpatient beds.
how many beds in the,
14,
and will that increase in the new hospital?
yes.
To
Go
what?
up to a minimum of 24, if not more. We're kind of
We're
reevaluating
reevaluating
that.
that. We think we need more beds in the.
Yeah, when we started this 2 years ago, I think our volumes grew by over 10% since then, and we thinking that we're at a plateau and
It hasn't happened.
And your 50 to 75 also will count your ER beds, so you would have 24 plus ER beds and 50 to 75.
That's correct. When you look at licensed beds, that's only inpatient beds. That doesn't include ED, surgery, things like that.
So when you said you're planning for between 75 and 100 total.
Long term. Yeah.
We'll have shelf space, floors.
Right.
yeah, the thing, the way that we're designing the campus, even on the map, we have a separate utility that is going to be separate from the hospital with the idea that we can do campus development. Because we know by the time we're halfway through building the hospital, we'll get to the next phase of that facility planning because of the growth that we're going to.
Lot of rock.
Yeah, so, but yes, the towers that we plan is the 48 beds.
How long does it take to increase your license number of beds when you're working with this deal?
So there's a certificate of need process. We're already part of that process, and what's nice is where we're going, we don't have to ask for additional beds unless we go to that 100, right? And so as we plan with them, that'll be in the years to come. So we're already starting that right now. And it's just a formality, really. If you show the need, you can get the beds.
Yeah, what's being proposed today is within the scope of our current license.
Access is such a problem
Up to 72.
Correct.
Correct.
right now.
What trauma level are you targeting?
Well, we're at trauma 4 currently. That's not part of our current plan to target something new with the hospital, though we suspect getting all these things in place and working, bring more specialties, we recruit more surgeons, we would be likely close to becoming 3 at some point.
Which is the same as Kirkland.
Because I think for first responders, that comes in.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Absolutely.
It does. Makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Have you considered a parking structure versus parking lots? I mean, if you need more space for hospital beds,
We have talked about it, we'd be the first parking garage but we have talked about it, the need for starting maybe with flat parking and then maybe building up.
Yeah, the $382 million doesn't get us a parking garage.
the parking spaces.
Yeah, there is a lot of parking.
We do.
Yeah, we don't, there's a lot,
In the
on
back.
campus, yeah. So, but we know if we add another building as a part of future phase, that we're gonna have to address it.
And you said you've selected an architect. Who is it?
And BBJ, they built the Mariners Stadium. lot of, they
You
built.
can have a sliding
Many
roof on the
hos-
ER?
they built- I say that because I'm impressed by it, that it opened. But they've actually just built 2 hospitals together. The team that, so MEDJ is a very big architect group that's built across the country. But locally, they've built many things, and the team that we chose has just built 2 hospitals in Alaska together. And really had to take the culture and everything into account. And
Where in
so,
Alaska?
Sitka, and, what's the name?
Yeah, it's in the southeast.
Yes.
I'm not familiar.
Yeah, great group, I mean, and they really had to take all of the culture of the community and really bring that into the hospital, and so we really appreciated that, so, we feel like there's a lot of history to tell about
How impactful is the railroad going by the hospital? Do you have to build it farther to the south?
It's gonna be
Anything like that?
a little bit more removed from the railroad track, but it's not gonna change some of the issues we have with the railroad track. The one good thing is hopefully the quiet train act will go through. I think we're the second one in the city of Monroe that's supposed to not have the horns and everything. That's the most disruptive thing. Is really, because there's other ways to get to the hospital, you can go around, right? But it's the horns at night and, right, that wake everyone up and it's disruptive. So, it's supposed to be a quiet train soon, so that's what we're hoping for.
Do you feel the vibration of the train?
You hear it, yes.
Is that built into the plan for the new hospital to
Base isolation.
Oh,
base
it's supposed to be-
isolation, things like that?
They're gonna think about all that, so, I mean, seismic, all those things that we don't have now, right? The train, all of
I
that.
was just thinking about a doctor doing a microsurgery or some sort of thing, train go by.
It's not quite that
So that's
level, but
why.
yeah.
Oh, didn't mean to do that, sorry.
Yeah,
Oh,
It's
exactly.
terrible, oh my gosh.
So sorry. No, it's not.
Well, or some of the testing equipment that you have probably affected by the vibrations too.
We've not had too many problems. It's more the problems we've had is blocking traffic and the sound from people sleeping.
So would it be fair to say that you are expanding your size, but not dramatically expanding your services?
No, we are expanding our services now. We've added cardiac, we've added ENT, we've added
So
neurology,
you want,
urology.
you gonna do oncology,
Well, we hope to. We do hope to.
or pediatrics?
That's, yes, someday, yeah, absolutely. So those are all in the plans, especially as we grow. And so we're not gonna stop growing even while we're planning for a replacement hospital. We're continuing, that's why we're coming into Snohomish, that's why we're continuing consulting, right, and bringing specialties. So we want to keep patients local. Having your health care close to your home is so important. You know what it's like to travel down 2 or travel down 522. On a good day, it's fine. On a bad day, it's not so much, right?
Yeah, those good days happen about 3 times a year.
Yeah, exactly. So
Right.
like when people can get care here, that's our goal. And as long as it makes sense, right? The higher level of those things, we're gonna have to transfer out, but like, I think it's gonna grow all the time and our services are gonna grow all the time.
We also know their outcomes, right, patient outcomes are better when they can be closer to
Home,
home.
family, all that.
The helipad on the roof or on the?
No, it would not be on the roof. It would be,
Separate.
yep, separate. Yeah.
And we've already been with the FAA about that.
We talked to we have clearance from the airport. Again, they're selling, so we might not have that resource soon too, to transport people out. It's not convenient to bring people across the highway. It's a lot of coordination. To have a helipad on site, you can hot land and fly out. So it's a big deal.
So you said you're going 4 stories, but you could do 5. Are you planning on designing the building to go vertically later?
Yes, absolutely.
And is any of your current funding federal funding? Are you affected by any of the federal funding?
So we're not planning for any federal funding to help with the construction, but yes, we will be affected by the cuts in federal one, specifically Medicaid cuts over time.
Just in
And
general
then-
for our operations.
Right, and then building of the new hospital, what do you see your employee population increasing by?
Yeah, so when we look at kind of where we're at right now, employed by Monroe, so, we have shared services for kind of like our billing team, so that's not employed by Monroe, but we have about 260 FTEs, and based on that pro forma that we have developed, putting year one at about 340. So it doesn't mean that we're gonna hire 80 people in 21. We have a plan of growth as we, ramp up to the new hospital, so that we're adding surgeons on the procedure list, so that we've got, business to, fill the hospital too.
Because at least for me, it's a good selling point to the public, all those jobs.
Good benefits.
Yeah,
Yep.
and we looked at kind of.
And they're good jobs too.
Good job.
Very good.
Yep.
Yeah, and so I think when we're fully ramped up, and in 2 years, I think it's about 50 FTEs.
Yes.
So,
50 employees.
Good.
Anything else?
I was gonna, you mentioned that you wanted some firefighter type of input and stuff like that. Are you going to ask for that in a specific form?
Yeah, so we have several forms. I think the way we're gonna move forward is like a survey monkey, that we could have a QR code that you can put wherever you want, and someone could, and even in the hospital, we can put it when they're coming and transporting a patient. But it's those things that we wanna know when you come, what's convenient for you, what's not, and how can we make it efficient? What food would you like? Those kind of questions. And we're open to, if you have ideas of what questions are important. I mean, this is the community hospital, it's not our hospital. So how can we make sure it represents the community and it meets that community need, and that includes all of you?
I would encourage you to not rely solely on that kind of a survey. That in-person stakeholder group between your architect and the end users
Yes.
are invaluable for soliciting that kind of input about, well, what do you think about it? Well, no, we don't want to walk through there, we want to walk over here because it's close to all that. That's hard to collect on a survey.
Yeah, we're doing like high level, like, do you like bold or neutral colors? But for first responders, it's more specific. Like if you're waiting on a wall, what does that mean for you? And what's important? Do you need a documentation center? Do you need, sustenance? What do you need during that time?
Or even just a little desk somewhere where they can go to paper.
That's what we, right, that's what we need to know. And things change over time, right? And so, really want to hear that feedback of what's important.
What do you foresee this new hospital doing to wall time? Have you guys looked at it?
So it's interesting, Monroe historically has not had big wall times until the last year-ish, I would say, right? And even still, I think we still do a pretty good job of getting people through. But they definitely started to increase. And so we know that, I think that goes to what we already know about our ED, that we're landlocked, it's too small for our volume, right? That's partly why we're growing in place now today, but then how do we make sure we're thinking about meeting the need in the future, right? So it's part of why we're kind of regrouping on our emergency department right now and saying, okay, what
It's big enough,
yeah, what we knew 2 years ago is different than what we know now. Our growth has been exponential even since then. So, I can't speak necessarily to what that will totally look like, but definitely trying to improve all of that so that there isn't wall times for EMS when they're coming in. A big focus that we really try to prioritize is just direct vetting in our ED, whether it's through front door triage or through EMS.
I was going to say, my daughter had a recent visit to your facility, and she was using the manual in the home. She and her fingertips did not blend well in the manual. They separated.
It's a clean slice though.
But she had a really good experience there. She really liked it, so.
Glad to hear that.
Sorry that
She's
happened.
okay? Okay.
Those mandolins.
They're dangerous.
Making French Indian soup. You know.
Oh, no,
You're gonna
no, a
put
lot
all
of
the
onions, a lot of onions. And I want to thank Chief Waller for pouring us through the new facility. That was really great to see. We're excited. We're going to be there for the opening.
So which side's the ambulance going to be on at the clinic?
With the
It's already got a drive-through right there.
Did we gotta drive through the drive-through? I don't know, it's a pretty snug drive-through.
With
You make that
regard to
turn?
the Snohomish location, are you going to have a pharmacy there?
We are not.
No, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but retail pharmacy is,
Tough business.
yeah, that's a hard one. But we get it.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much for your time.
Very much appreciated.
We'll duck out if that's okay.
Totally fine.
Accounts payable? I had a couple of questions, but the chief answered them all before.
God dang it. Really?
No, good, I got a couple then. Good.
Well, I noticed there was a couple in here, 570 and 582 had to do with fitness repairs. Hopefully that wasn't a machine that we voted to replace, or maybe it was, I don't know.
There was a treadmill service. But no, I don't believe that was a new.
I have no idea, but this is the normal service time of year, so my guess would be that was just a normal service. The same service that Hawk, we have to replace the one that you guys do, that it takes a while for the invoices to get. But 570, I don't know.
Well, that was
These AP.
450. I don't know how much it cost to service one of those. And the other was 582. And
I'd have to ask DC Max.
and then I was hoping it wasn't the this is advanced fitness repair. That's
Yeah.
582.
That's the company that comes and looks at.
All of them?
Yeah, every year at this time, they go through every single piece of equipment and do the maintenance, It was during that time that they identified, hey, this one's so broke, we can't fix it. Now, did they do something before that? I don't know what I said, but that was the process that brought to us, hey, this thing needs to be replaced, and it's no longer repairable.
Yeah, I know if it was a new machine, those are under warranty for at least a year, so it had to have been one of our existing machines that they either did repair or attempted to repair.
The new machine did come broken, but they're fixing it. It's not a top,
It came to,
there's some parts on it, minor parts.
sort of like that one ad on TV where
Minor parts.
Well, just you might have heard about that,
Minor parts.
but yeah.
I got some few. Yeah, anyway, so, and then I was wondering on 5576, that says for notary renewal, and is that just for one person, or is that, and for how long does the renewal go? Because usually, isn't it a few years?
I don't know about the duration, but Sam is our notary public and, for a notary, and she has to re-up every once in a while. We pay that for her. She provides a service to the district. Came in really handy, especially with construction. Thank you,
Anytime you need to.
And then on 5581, I don't understand the dollar amount there. Up above it says like it's 465, and down below it says 9,594.
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's a trade rate between 13 and 14.
What's that?
Yeah.
It's one of the credit card ones. You have to pay rate between 13 and 14.
My service disconnected and is trying to reconnect now. I can take a look at those cards where it serves.
Yeah, it's training, so I don't know. Here, here, that's the whole credit
Oh, that's
card.
the entire bill.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the entire credit card bill. So the one thing is up there for the 465, above that, the 150, charge. See that one?
So if you notice, they all say unclog bank.
They'll say what?
And then right in the middle page, they all say unclog bank, commercial cards, other credit cards. So what it's doing is it's giving you each charge on the credit card.
Oh,
So like the one you said before, the 450s were also on the credit card.
so
And then
the
you-
total, the
And then you
90,
total all those up, the total is the 95.
95 is the total credit card, okay.
Total charges.
All right. I just thought something was missing there.
Nope,
Uh,
not this time.
And then I also looked at 5592, and that's, I was wondering what kind of professional services those were for that amount of money.
So, just about those, like the 5592, I'm not sure where to find that because it doesn't go in order. So like, I'm going down, I
It's,
saw
it's
5592, I think it's 628.
Do Well Consulting, PLCC.
That's
Dowell.
Dowell. Yeah, that's Andrea Dowell.
Oh,
She does prep for our SAO audit filing.
okay.
The standards change, we were talking about that, standards change every year, she keeps us up on that. She helps us with notes, configuration. Anyways, and so she's under contract, this is her final year of her 3-year contract.
So just as we do AP, we need to figure out better. So that number over there is the number on the AP that we have to, if you could give us to us even 10 minutes before the meeting so we can, because it might be on 5590 could be on page 1 and 5592 could be 19 pages later.
Yeah, okay.
Because they don't go, so.
Well, I also had another one about, it's on page 17, it was 5599. This was something with the mesh law, doing repair. And so my question was, are they the fallback if we can't get into Surfer or over here to, Glenham? Are they the fallback for some of that?
I'd have to ask Greg, but there's some things that Tulalip and Surfer don't do, like front end water or whatever. So they're not usually our tires that we would have Purcell, because they're on state bid.
Might be an alignment or something.
Yeah, so it could have been an alignment or something that they can't be done. So Gary and Greg just have to figure that out from the best price and what's the most advantageous. But yeah, they don't typically do our tires, because we Purcell and Low, they're on state bid. But yeah, there's a lot of things that Swamp does, with Surfer and Tulalip that can't do, like, so they don't do. Some of those things.
Yeah, I was.
And then the last thing I had was on, I think, page 26 and 27. It talked about things that are past due. And it was 5671. Page 26 and 27.
Does it have a payee?
It's Grand HVAC.
Oh, yeah. That is the, that's our leased tank.
Did this thing out here?
No, it's actually down, I think it's down
It's the
on
boiler.
first floor, yeah.
43.
There's a tank, and so when we sent them the final, we're canceling the lease, right, when we're out of the building. So we had them come out, and when they did that, their AP contacted us and said, hey, we've got bills from 2023, 2022, some from 24, there's a spattering of them. And then, so, anyways, that's what those are. We had never received them. I had Sam go back and look, and, but the only thing that brought their attention to it was the fact that we were ending the lease. So they went back to do some account cleanup. It's not I think it was 5 bills, if I remember right, over 3 different years.
Okay, well, thank you for that.
10 bills.
10,
10 bills of 4602 for a total of 4620.
some of them aren't that old.
Yeah.
$46.
$46.02
Yeah, per month.
per month. It's not the boiler, it's the boiler, that's the hot water tank boiler, not the heat boiler. It's the only heat boiler in tank, but not the hot water tank. And it's so useful, so valuable.
They don't want it
But you
back.
might just didn't want to.
Yeah.
Well, are we gonna charge them all off?
About 4602.
Yeah. Times 10.
Roughly.
Yeah. That's why you should be able to take care of that tank for you.
No problem. I got two questions, and they're just curiosity. 5594 Ferguson Waterworks. $4,918.
That was our, we purchased steamer port caps for our hydrants because we're starting to convert them over to the foreign stores.
Okay, yeah, it says store fittings, I was wondering if it was storage.
City is putting in roughly essentially 5,000 a year to start swapping them all over to standard. We're doing the same and matching. So between both the city and us, we're splitting, they do. We're doing them, so
I
we.
just
yeah.
saw the name and I said, I hadn't seen that one.
Yeah, so right now, I think that we got most of the hydrants on First Street working, starting on the south end, working up on swapping those over to
Yeah.
stores.
And within 5 years, we should have a very active stores in the city.
And then the last one was Shockey Planning, Station 42 A&E.
Shockey is passive, these are wetlands. Give me a second.
So,
Is that the access?
the street, a little sidebar. If you guys have an opportunity to write these down and send them to the chief, so that
Yeah.
it will expedite this process, and it doesn't catch them off guard. You know, at the meeting, they go, because we're looking, and they're going, well, we don't, they just make things more streamlined. So easy. You know, I don't know when you get a chance to look at yours, I try to look at it, so I can send it on Friday.
Environmental.
And if they do have to do a little research, then they have time to do that, rather than say,
Oh, I know who it
Get
is.
back.
I remember. They are the ones that are doing our SEPA.
Okay.
So our self SEPA, that we decided to do for SEPA, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, it was just a name I hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
Audit for extended control.
Sorry, trying that.
Yeah.
Like, so we had all the other ones already, so yeah, that's why it's different from all the other ones, because we need to push them in there, that's true. So,
Curiosity
And
about the
then-
name.
Commissioner Glass, Shauna was able to find one of the fitness ones that it was buying way fast.
So anything on accounts receivable or payroll? Okay. All three of those are approved as. Just like when you buy a new car, when you buy a new medic unit, guess what? You pay more insurance. Shocker.
Shocker, not shocking.
So we need to transfer $7,000 from general reserve to loan 6201.
And I have a question. Why wouldn't we just transfer $6,576? I mean, I don't know, I'm just asking the question.
You could, I do it when it's easy, it's easier for us to do the math, it's easier to do the line item. The money doesn't actually change anywhere, so if we don't spend $5, it actually doesn't move anywhere. So, because all of our line items come out of F-70, and so at the end of the year, we'll just have $5, so it is up to you, it's just easier. I also never know if they're gonna give us with, you know, I do that, and then they're like, oh, there's a $4 filing fee,
Right.
documentation fee.
Documentation fee. $95.
The auditor,
In a change fee or in a vehicle addition fee.
the auditor doesn't care for $5 extra, but when we're short, they don't like that. So that's all. It's just-
We're putting the new ones on, when's the old ones come on?
Right, and that's one of the reasons we, you know, so when we did the budget from last year, we haven't determined that we want to keep all of them. So we want to keep, so we'll have 3 reserves total, 1 at each station, so it'll move around. 1 will be designated as a mobilization, so we'll have 2 that are always here, and 1 is turned into a pseudo rescue until we get the last. And then with our 4 engines, the plan is if we have one to load them in, we'll just scrap it and then have whatever extra, we'll scrap it. So instead of, you know, we were playing the Russian roulette, which one should we use? We aren't gonna pull off. And we don't get much money from, so we have a use for all of them.
And Sean is volunteering here for us, right?
So that's where we landed, we decided not to.
They put the use of tobacco stuff.
Any other comments or questions? That's approved by acclamation.
Well, I move that we transfer $7,000 from the general reserve to line 62 line.
Did you say line 62?
62.
Minus 62. Minus 62.
Well, maybe I read it. I don't have,
Let me look
No,
at it.
I don't have my
6201 is what comes to my mind.
62.
It says 6201.
It does, but let me confirm.
We'll make it right.
Let me confirm that with that.
Okay.
Or
To add the auditor.
Yeah, the motion needs to be.
Put it in the one and take it out, put it in the different.
Yeah. That is one. If you can go on out, because I can always come back. Okay.
Okay, we've got an ILA with Snohomish County that gives us access to fiber and internet and all that kind of stuff. And since we have now gone to a different provider, we can eliminate the actual internet access. I don't know if the numbers got changed. There was
I did not.
okay. It's actually a savings of $378, not of $600. The numbers were just transferred.
Oh, okay.
So we need to sign that.
I'll move that we sign the ILA with the amended dollar amounts.
And then I go back.
Go back. Yeah, I second, all in favor.
Now go back.
Now go back to
Bring the amendment line item 4601.
4604. So that transfer and that motion is amended. That was everything in the first.
Correct.
Large warrants.
There was also Aaron's promotion
What promotion?
that we. Yeah, he is in season.
I didn't see that on
Was that promotion or demotion?
Yes.
there. Sounds more like.
Commotion.
Yeah, it's probably better.
Large warrants, we had two large warrants totaling $1,001,480.37. One to Lawhead and one to Jen Cap. Any questions on those? And those are 2619 and 2620, those are approved. SSP adoption. Kind of encouraged about that. Well, I'm encouraged that administration and the local were able to come to a pretty good agreement, to what it sounds like, to make this thing work. And I'm excited, somebody has decided, well, yeah, that looks like money in my pocket. And I'm excited to see what it does for us long term, to see what the benefits are for the people, and if it's a win-win. Yeah.
Just, we have one person that has signed the agreement, it's all official and done. We have another one that's extremely interested, asking questions, wanted to give themselves and their family more days to think about it. And then really, I just would like, just so we're clear, the resolution gave me the latitude to negotiate with the local, right in the resolution, but we did negotiate a few tweaks. I still think they should have been resolution. I think it's a good thing, guys, just to do a motion to say you're accepting the LOU as a resolution, just so that there is no questions in the future that it's all together and taken over. So no, I think everything went well. Like I said, the tweets from the local were very, as you see, minor, some of them were just dead lines that we were
Took a little while.
and then just some interpretations of the whole team. And I would also say, just as we're talking about it, with what Captain Hammer talked about, it resolved, I don't know, a number of issues in the last 3 weeks. A lot of really positive things. We agreed a resolution for some staffing stuff, which will cause more promotions, so we don't have actors on the medication, about the promotion. Fix the days for staff to make it better for them.
Of the debit.
The debit days, it seems to be, no issues right now, right? But typically the debit days are, as I told you, are November to February, the end of one year and the beginning of next year, and then they're usually not an issue from March to October. So it's pretty, we're on a pretty standard path, so I hope we get off that cycle, but we'll see. Yeah. But other than that, I think we've been working with the local about hiring, the wildland commitment in the summer, and all kinds of things. Extremely well.
So do we need a motion or just an acknowledgement that the actions that were taken were within the bounds of that resolution?
I would think an acknowledgement is fine, but I would prefer to do a motion only because there is the dollar and things after the beginning. So if the auditor, anybody who's back, it's just one more level of official action and you're accepting it. Basically, the board is in agreement with the LOU is within SSP. That's what I think the motion would be. Doesn't change anything, but that way.
What was the resolution?
585. Yes.
I would like to move that resolution 585 made stipulation that the chief could enter into agreement, LOU be with the local, that established within certain parameters what that resolution would allow. Move that those parameters have not been broken and stayed within the acceptable bounds of that resolution. True, that's long.
Yes.
The apostrophe queen over there will make it happen.
And I will second that.
All in favor?
So that says.
Oh, questions, discussion?
That says, basically what we're going along with this letter of understanding
Yes.
between us and the
Yes.
local.
Yep.
Because there are some stipulations in the letter of understanding that don't exactly follow that resolution, but the resolution gave the chief the latitude to make those kind of minor adjustments. So we're just acknowledging that by motion.
Were some of the dates expanded out
Yes,
then?
yes.
A little longer?
The start got moved back, but the end didn't change.
Oh,
Right, so I think the resolution said that we should start on April 20th. They wanted more time to talk about it, so I think we did start until May 1st. But the end, which was the important date for us, because we needed the end in time to hire, that didn't change.
Okay, all in favor? I would like to personally acknowledge the work that Chief Moore and Shauna, and I believe Alex was involved as well for the annual report.
Alex did help review it.
Oh. It's great.
Good. Very thorough.
Print it. Publish it.
A couple things I would like to highlight. Again, we have the intern and my daughter doing the programming, but it also allows us to run things all the time. So we also ran a dedicated unit. So you saw the split from the year, but we also ran it in 1 month. Right? Because 4 months is a little bit month out. 7 months isn't a whole lot better or getting closer, but what I wanted to bring up is we decreased our response time by over 10% in the urban area since the dedication. We're getting pretty close to that being statistically significant, even with in the suburban area, it's just under 12%. A little harder for me to say that specifically significant, and it would be logical that we should have a bigger impact in the urban where the dedication the station. We also had over a 3% decrease in how many times we called out of it, which again, it's going to be hard to tell us if that's the true 10 line, but it makes logical sense. It's what Jason expected. So, point being is even running the numbers that we can do. We're still seeing the impacts of the people. We are getting the change in service levels that we intended for them.
Any other comments? Good job.
Okay, excellent.
Pass it on to the winner.
No, Shauna put a lot of time into the Canada report, and most of her time was counting us chiefs to get information.
As she looks down the table.
I need to know about. Yeah, we'll get it to you. Next week.
I'm on it.
Come on it.
Well, I'll move that we adopt the annual report as presented.
I'll second that.
All in favor? And any questions, concerns, comments about the various strategic documents? Operational strategic plan, capital facilities plan, capital facilities cash flow, and the strategic budget.
So,
Anything?
No,
Oh, no, okay.
I think the last time you kind of went through some of
We
these
did.
questions I had about the budget. So,
I move that we accept those.
Oh, and I think I told you I should tell. We did update the capital cash flow with the first quarter actual expenses for the budget of the team. So that is the only change from what you saw. Like the grammatical and spelling errors. But that allows us, that's kind of our process, is we have estimates in there for the stations, and then order, set up, goes back, and reconcile the actual, when we understand what we do, we overhead in the beginning, we just roll it. So that's why, as we get near the end of 41, that, those next payments of, we won't really hit that, because at some point, we're gonna have to say, we're not, we'll spend as much money as we thought. And we'll correct that, and that whole cash flow will change, and it'll all change to the positive. So we're gonna be whatever less expense than we thought. And so, really, probably, I don't know if we'll get them done by in Q3 to have it 100% reconciled, but for sure by the end of the year, it'll be a better reflection of our cash flow, better numbers for 42. And so we're gonna start seeing all these things come together in our very conservative estimate of expenses and our conservative revenue are going to start becoming reality, and the picture should keep continuing to change.
And those budget documents will continue to be in flux for the next 7 to 10 years until we over that iron. It's just the way it is when you're building stuff. Thank you for the work on this. Appreciate it. For all, I know all of these people. Are there any other further developments about the RLP agreement?
Not really.
We had a Snohomish County Fire Training Academy, was the ops chiefs meeting today at the direction of the chief wants to get together and review just the academy in general. At a higher level, logistically, how many academies per year, how many students, what the duration is, quite a bit of stuff was discussed. At that meeting today, there's no definitive decision as of yet whether the county is going to consider moving to one or staying with the current two, but that is a discussion item, and not knowing which direction it's going to go does have an impact, especially for an agency our size. We currently, at least if we use the county academy, have 2 different times during the year we can onboard somebody. So in the future, if it does go down to one, that's going to have an impact on us. If we have people retire, resign, whatever the case is, and the academy's in session, then if we're using just that academy, you have to wait quite a while before you can put them back into the academy.
Yeah.
So it definitely would have an impact on us. from that standpoint. And how that's tied into ROV is because we don't know all that information, is we wouldn't know when to plan our higher events if it is down to one academy. So there's some unknowns that I can't definitively tell you today which direction they're gonna go. I think some of the bigger agencies are leaning towards one, but not everybody in those agencies are in agreement. So you might have the chief one saying, I want one, and the ops chief saying, I don't know if we can go to one. So, but that's my concern is how do we make District 4 nimble and be able to pivot to serve our needs if necessary. So.
I would say what Chief said, there's, at best, there is unknowns of how the county wants to go. I would say the leading, I would say by the vast majority, by the ones that have the biggest effect, is to be less integrated and less collaborative. And our biggest asset for us, that whether these storms that we have to kind of react to, we don't control, is the ROV. So having more nimble control of the ROV allows us to more nimbly deal with these things. And so we have discussed our recommendations to give those, and if a year from now things haven't changed for the worse, we can offer to extend it. But if we have to wait for a year for the county to decide what they're doing and they go in a direction that's not advantageous for us, and then we have to wait a year to get control of the RLB as we have to deal with the in-between, that's not easy for us to, that's our strength, that's the way we can weather these storms, and not having that full control, that makes it harder for us to use our biggest strength.
Yeah, and the RLB classroom is going to be one of our facilities that's going to be used for the loss of this size room. So there is some challenges. I don't have a crystal ball. I just know that we may have to be ready to pivot, and if the site is locked down for other reasons, it would make it tougher for us to do that. So at some point, it's going to be it's going to all crumble and probably all at once. If it does go to one academy, then I think there's going to be a little bit of dominoes. We're going to have to do some catch up. We got to figure out where we can get our people in for pre-academy and post-academy and PPP for potentially for our facilities. So.
Like Andrew Hammer, that's you a lot that you want to.
Yeah, I think the added potential of tech rescue, the county tech rescue team, using our facility more, that also then kind of takes away from the space and the opportunity to share. I think it is not hindrance from being collaborative in our training, but having the control, definitely, I agree with the chief that it's going to give us the ability to pivot when needed. And knowing what we have coming, it makes us a little bit nervous, and already in our communication piece with Surfer on the shared space of we're going to have to move things around. And so it's making it difficult to manage the county already.
So if we move forward with the notice of cancel, are there some steps that we should take? Chief to chief, commission to commission, what do you feel would be the best for that?
I want to know if you guys are supportive of that, and I would want to have a meeting with you and see if this is right. But if he gives me something that changes our mind, I can always come back to you. I don't have to give no. If you tell me that that's the direction we can go, if you need that from me, you don't have to have another talk. I think that's just the thing. So I think that's what I've been waiting for, to have that conversation. I don't know you and I see you have that know, we don't necessarily know the details, but we know they in South County are actively planning for public things. Right, we don't know what those other things are, and we don't need, like, we feel a little weird when we know there's a lot of time of the future going on, and we're not involved in these discussions, yet our facility is a key part of us and probably any.
Keep used to their
Yeah.
being.
So I think it's appropriate for us
Well, I agree.
to send notice to get out of that.
Yeah, and as far as the conversation goes, whether it be the board or the chief, I don't think it's minutes. I think the chief is probably going to get a better answer.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Overall, I agree. At least I would hope that.
And there might be some solution that we haven't thought of, right? I haven't really, heard from them or put much thought into alternate solutions, because right now it's kind of a binary choice. We do this, we don't. Now that you are agreeing with this, there's that kind of open the door to explore something in between. Yep.
So I know from talking to some of the folks last Thursday night, the snow owl thing, I talked with one of the commissioners from North County, and they're already planning to use their facility for other things because this isn't going to happen. He was talking to me about they're approaching the Navy, do some Navy stuff up in that area there. And so it behooves us, I think, to be ahead of the curve rather than way behind and get just blasted or something, and don't have anything that's going on.
Put in a corner where we're going.
Yeah, I would be inclined to say something like we would move to end this, start this agreement, stop it at the 1st of June, give the chief some time to talk to the other chief, and if something's really good, you can always ask us to let's get together and we could rescind that. You know, we can always do that kind of thing.
Always call a special.
Yeah, to rescind it. But I think that would be the appropriate way to do. And then there's something, and then they can start thinking about what they're gonna do or something. And that helps you folks, know that, okay, at least starting in June next year, we have it basically our first thing. And kind of go from there.
And like I said, there's a year to work on, right? Because when we fell on the 1st of June, we were rescinding, nothing changes for a year.
That's right.
Right, and what I'm saying is we don't really need a special meeting, because if we don't, even if we decide on something, I don't have to come to you. I don't know that new thing until before June 27th. Right, so there is no, it's not a big rush. The rush is to give the notice to start the call. The
Fix is whatever.
right, we have a year to come up with a fix and some things that will be related. So that's what I mean, like, we are stressed about getting the clock started. If there's some other interesting thing, we have time to think about that, and discuss it, and come up with those talk it. It's not a huge rush. We just want to get the clock started. That's like every day that goes by.
I move that we direct Chief Waller to initiate termination of the RFP.
Second, that.
Do you wish you did?
No. I mean,
I think we need some sort of a date, so that he can put that on the letter, or whatever. I think it's gotta be a letter.
It does.
And that, as of this date, we're gonna terminate.
I would ask for 30 days, because I would like to talk to Chief Martin first, before I send him a letter. That would be better. Schedules can get
so,
difficult, so that if you just.
like July 1st.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I'll do it as fast as possible, but what I don't.
No later than July.
Yeah, what I don't wanna do is I can't meet with them until the 31st, and then so I send them a letter ahead of time.
Okay, so no later than
You
July.
might be listening to this anyway.
Correct.
So,
Exactly, and that's fine, but I wanna do my
yeah.
due
Yeah,
diligence
right,
to.
yeah. Well, that's why I suggested, giving you some time to
Yeah.
visit with him, but obviously having a date there. So that helps us to know when we can start the clock
Yeah.
going forward as well. Before we take a vote on that, I was wondering how, in this 18.5, is, I haven't gone to the website or anything like that. But I was wondering, what about that?
I'm
It
trying to-
has publication on the website, it says. And it says if it hasn't been done,
Oh.
the agreement is null and void.
Yeah, we actually just realized the last month that every single FSA law, every single ILA is supposed to be on the website, and we're trying to bring it back. None of ours are.
Well, so it isn't on the website? So that this agreement is null and void? Is that what our legal advice would be?
Well,
I mean, you're not the legal, but I mean.
And I wouldn't want to go down that road, because like I said,
I don't know.
well, what I'm saying is, we don't want to go down that road, because none of our ILAs are on
No.
Well,
the website. And there's a lot of ILAs that we really want to have stay in effect.
So that's not something the auditor looks at?
They haven't. Doesn't mean they won't, because they look at all,
Okay,
kinds-
I'm
they
just-
watch these meetings for process.
Okay.
So you bet, it's certainly within their.
Yeah, we actually found it when we were the county one, and then we asked, and SNR, and asked, so we're trying to get them all on the website. We're also trying to, DJ will probably be bringing another cost item to you, so we can automate some of these things through the website, so we don't have to remember. But yes, it is not on the website, none of them are on the website, that is on the list to get done ASAP.
Okay, there's a motion on the table.
Yeah, but I still, so, but according, so if Surfer didn't have it on the website either, and the county doesn't have it, then is this thing even,
I would have to ask Brian. Some of
We
these
have to ask the
times-
attorney.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
If
that just, when I was reading through this whole thing, I said, okay, because I don't recall it.
It's just, sometimes those things stand out because it's state law, but they don't really uphold them because of case law.
Okay.
My point is, because we're in a glass house on this one, I don't want to go the first step.
Okay.
It's basically,
Yeah.
I don't want to start that road, and cause it to be precedent.
To your point, though, we are working toward rectifying that through website design and records. It's very much on our radar.
Is, when I went through that thing with SNR on that Saturday, there was something in there I hadn't heard before, it talked about indexes. Is that where some of this stuff would fall under? We're supposed to have some indexes for our
Public
records and stuff like that?
Another.
Yeah, so like, this is in our public record index,
Okay.
right? So we have to have an index that somebody can come and ask, we have to go look, we have to show them and that kind of thing. So I think that's different. I don't know, because I haven't been able to talk to someone who's in some foreign country. Germany.
That's where he told us he was going.
So he's been busy as he's leading up and through, so he's a little bit backlogged. But, so I don't know if this comes out of the Public Records Act or just some other random
Okay.
statute. But it's not directly.
That probably would understand that section.
Motion on the floor. I'm not going to try to restate it, but all in favor?
Aye. Can the secretary read it back, please? The motion?
Chair Mills, move to initiate, Chief Waller would move to initiate termination of the RLD agreement. Commissioner Eric seconded that, and then we got to discussion, about dates, Commissioner Clough, talked about needing to have a date, and Chair Mills and stated that he'll have the agreement no later than July 1st.
Thank you.
Looking at change orders. Questions on those?
So everything new is below the second fold line. You've already approved the stuff for the first fold line and before the second fold line. And so we just keep adding to it. And then as we get better information, we update it. Some of them get duplicated because it's an idea when I put it in the budget, and then they come out with the actual one, and there's no cost because we also got credits, or we did it a different way, it didn't cost as much as the first time we thought about it. So you can see that the final column is where we think it really is today. So a good one is like the store button and teleglass. The teleglass, they thought it was going to be 10 grand for glass and 20 grand for the smart film. Well, it ends up that the 20 grand is for the smart film. Glass is a no cost item. What they thought was going to be more than the original way is that it's just a wash. So you can see that we put at the zero cost how that iterates through time through the process. We're just over halfway on our change order budget, and we're almost done. And that $1 million is a reduction from the original change. So we have 1.4 million set, just under 600,000.
Which is amazing.
Very low percent. And remember, we just as a society, we look for bid before we have to command. Which is this, the risk of doing that is it would actually cost more to change.
Yes. Especially when AHJ came back and said, oh, by the way. So we need a motion.
I move to approve the change order as listed.
And change order and furnishing.
And furnishing. Change order and furnishing. As listed.
Moved and seconded to approve the change orders and furnishings. All in favor? Aye.
And just a point of clarification for nature, that was 441 after.
Correct, yeah. Yeah.
That brings us to staff reports.
Like Jason, that's pretty good.
Yes. Well, we had the District 4 for the last, I think 3 or 4 years that sent people back to the FDIC conference in Indianapolis. And this year was BC Woodrow, Casey Pizzelli, and Jose Islas got the opportunity to go back and spend a week with probably one of the biggest, in my opinion, probably one of the better conferences ran. So I look forward to hearing all their stories. I've already heard some of the classes they attended, just the scale of it, the networking. They all had very positive things to say about that experience. I got one rescue swimmer, that Anthony Freeman, that just completed one of the 2 classes needed to join our water team. So we did the surface water last week. And we'll have to take swift water, I think, later this summer for the second.
That was a perfect thing. Water's up, it's nice and cold.
Yes, I think he went up, I think they spent some of their time up at Index. Paramedic Devin Berwick just completed all of his county required training, so he is able to work alone. So that was kind of a milestone for him. Aaron Hammer in the training division coordinated second quarter MCOs, which was actually hosted by Grand Halls up at their training facilities. We participated on sending engine companies detailed training up there for that second quarter MCO drills. I took a field trip along with the training division over to Richland. We bombed over on one day, spent one night, came home the next day. The purpose of that trip was to meet with Richland Fire's training division. They've been on the fire engineering training platform, which is the one we're currently operating, for just over a year. So we wanted to go meet. There's only so much virtual learning all of us can do. We wanted to go actually meet with a training division and one that was similar in size and scope to what we are. There was a few smaller agencies that were all volunteer, but we wanted to see how they deal with probation and different stuff. We gained some good insight on that, sitting in the room, all of us had our laptops on, actually got to do hands-on, build some stuff out on it. So that was very helpful for us to see how they utilize that software program. But it did raise a question as to the timing of when we're switching. So when we proposed going from our current platform, Target Solutions, and switching over to a new staffing software and a new training program, RMS system, that was primarily done because our contract ended with Target in June. I don't have numbers for you today, but I'm going to plan on bringing something to the next board meeting. That's maybe not the wisest decision to switch mid-year and have data living on two platforms in the same calendar year for all kinds of reasons. And I would say from the staffing software side, which is also tied to our payroll, we're not ready yet. So we're close. We got the operational part down. We do our first payroll meeting with them Wednesday, and we're going to want to run at least 2 or 3 to make sure that everything is spitting out correctly and we're paying our employees correctly. Which all indications are so far on the operational side, they've been very receptive. It's been a pretty easy platform to learn. However, I'm a little leery at pulling the Band-Aid off on June 30th and just going with the new platform. So I'd like a little more redundancy on that to ensure essentially we will run 2 platforms for a period of time to verify that what's exporting 3 cents and paying our employees, we're duplicating or we're doing better on the staffing software. So that's probably what I took out of Richland. Their training division said as we're meeting, it was up to me, I wouldn't switch. I would do a January 1 switch. And the only reason we picked June 30th is because that's when the contract was started. Didn't think about the other things that potentially downstream could cause issues.
So running parallel platforms, what does that do to your staff?
We're just starting that, so I think you got starting May 1, right? That's been mirroring so we haven't even run our first test to see.
It'll probably honestly be more operational ops probably than as far as payroll. It'd be labor heavy for me for pulling the report, putting it into Springbrook. It would be more work, but the labor would be mirroring both platforms for a long enough period to verify that.
At the company?
Yeah. Yeah, at my level and the PC level, we're getting the appropriate pay.
Not so much.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Now, once we get it, which is coming, we'll have 2 platforms. So we'll have our run of payroll, and then we will have a second system to run through and make sure that it is correct. So it's been to double our work for a while, and probably a little more because we're currently familiar with TrueSense, not familiar with Stage 1. like Jason said, the plan to have 2 full pay cycles at least mirrored before we even move forward, knowing that we're solid and that we don't have things to work out, programming changes, any of that kind of stuff is important.
It's gonna be more work either way. The hope is when payroll runs the new one, they're doing it when they want to. Like, it's not actually paying. If we switch over too soon and it doesn't go well, there's no space for them to fix it.
Ain't no going
They
back.
have to get paid. So
No,
now,
I understand.
Yeah, I'm just saying, so, like, it's easier to do extra work, but where you get the time the second work.
Jason and Dad have to be here for 24 hours straight.
Correct.
It will be added, a little bit of added staff and operational work, but I also want to make sure we don't pay the employees correctly. That's going to cause all kinds of issues. And I want to verify that piece is dialed in. Yeah, yeah.
That way when payroll switches over and the time frame is working perfectly.
So I don't have numbers for what that's going to bring to you.
So we're gonna have 6 months
That would be.
contract to pay that we weren't planning on paying.
Yes, essentially, we would be doubling up on both those, for a 6-month period, we'd be having both of them, but it also, just being completely honest with station moving, all the stuff, all the initiatives that are going on right now, it's really, really hard to crowd all of us into a room and spend, we get a couple hours and then we get pulled to do other projects that are initiatives in a couple hours, so it buys us a little bit of time, but.
So are we in the 10 grand or 50 grand or 100 grand?
10 or less, yeah, would be my guess. They actually, I would have had it for you today to consider, but they don't typically do 6-month contracts. They do year contracts, so he was working on a 1-year contract that would be reduced to essentially mimic a 6-month. So I have not got
Well,
numbers.
could we just extend this one by 6 months?
That's what that's what I started with. But- So as soon as I get numbers, I just wanted to give you.
Same coin, different size. It's not gonna cause any problems with the state auditors to have 2 platforms doing the same thing.
It is, and you already mentioned that with, when he's saying half of data in one system, half of an annual or a year's data in one system, and half in another. When we go to pull and do the calculations for compensated absences, so all of the sick leave banks and vacation banks and comp banks.
And all my thought was, as an auditor, you tell me you're using 2 systems.
No.
Which one is your real system?
We have one official, one is just, one is not our official. We will officially switch January 1 to the new.
For both of them, there's only one system. Basically, what Jason is saying is we're gonna stay on the old system for the rest of this year. And we would like to train on the new system for the rest of this year.
For implementation.
Yeah, we're training on the new system. To the auditor, there's only one system. Yeah, we're just training on the other one for a little bit longer.
That's fair enough, yeah.
But we have to pull 5 years of historical data for this report. And so we really don't want 1 year's data to be half in one
Half
system.
and half.
Yeah.
And try to explain that.
Yeah, and the way it is, station-wise, we're going to have to pull, or we will have to pull and import into station-wise that data from TrueSense. We'll have to pull it for individual years. So historically, pull the 5 years we need. I don't know if that makes sense, but, so anyway, we're working on all that stuff, but it's, yeah, it's a little bit to it.
Sorry, I probably took longer than you guys wanted to hear.
It's good
on that.
information.
Not in my report, the chief alluded to it earlier, one of the current reserve APARs, the ops crew and the tech rescue people got together and kind of outfitted it with some tech rescue equipment and water equipment, and actually got to go through it last week while I was on shift, and they showed me it's pretty cool. They've done a nice job getting that as repurposing that APAR until we get a ladder with some of that equipment. They promised me it's not going to be a light rescue, so no struts, not overloading it with equipment. But nice to see that they took the initiative to come up with a plan to make an apparatus that's kind of a catch-all for that stuff.
Will it be dispatchable?
Could be, we have, it could be. We have not assigned it, it's not on CAP. The crews know, so if they got a tech rescue, it's already shadowed on one call where they just hit light force behind another room.
And we would have to just, it will never meet the current county designation, so it wouldn't be like mutual aid, we have a hard code in our lines. Right, so it's just as easy for our crews to undertake it when we need. Because if we had to have a new designation, that's the way it's like 17 county committees adopted the procedure.
So we just say, hey, bring Moby Doug.
Rambo.
Red wagon number 2.
Rambo.
So we got the Billy Goat, we got Rambo.
And then Greg, for Greg's report, he wanted to let you guys know he's enjoying his time over at Chelan. Thank you for allowing him this time off to spend with his family. And he really had nothing to say. That was crazy. So, if you have any questions on anything you wrote down.
How is the planning for the wildfire season coming along? That was sort of mentioned earlier, but do we have teams ready, red cards ready? Because that's usually something that Chief Osborne would talk about.
Our red card people are ready, and we had a meeting, Chief Waller and the wildland committee just met the other day. It's not whether we have certified people, we got lots of those. There was a discussion about what resources we might make available and how many people we might send on. So that was really what that focus of that discussion.
We had the pack test last week. That's the big thing to get everybody certified. So the pack test happened last week. That got everybody their red card certification. Got a good team. They're managing themselves, so they've got their call-out procedures. We really don't get in the weeds. It's supposed to be self-sufficient. They're getting better every year. This year, they're focusing on getting people through some training. It's been it's been not on the forefront to get people through the training and get some levels up in the wildlands. So they're going to do that, so we have more people with actual red card certifications on their card. We're going to try to focus on getting the ambulance out this year. It's a good resource, not only financially, but it allows a different group of people experiencing that arena to get experience with mobilizations and large command structures and different way of thinking. So we want to get that out to kind of cast our net a little wider. Anything else?
No, and I think that our training from in-house has been great. I think you're talking about like some task book level stuff when our members are deployed, getting their task book signed up. That hasn't always been on the forefront, doubling their task book, but not turn it into their commander and say, hey, can you sign me off for these skills? So we're trying to really emphasize that when you get deployed, get credit for the things that you did. The only way you can do that is to hand that over and have somebody sign that.
Go find the right person.
Yeah. In-house, the pack test, we're keeping up on our in-house training is advocating that the guys and gals that get deployed actually bring their task book and hand it to somebody and say, hey, can I get signed off for these things so they can work up to the engine boss and other levels.
Right. And the wildland team knows that the highest priority is making sure we staff here, so that they have to keep track of that throughout the summer. We have injuries, each vacation time, big training event going on, so they know that they have to manage that and make sure that we're hitting the right line of getting people out and not stressing the system out here too much. I, as a fire chief, also know that everybody has something they want to do that causes stress factor for us, whether that's going to FDIC, like Jason mentioned, whether that's going to EMS conference, rescue, water rescue, wildland is just another thing. So everybody is very happy when they get the thing they want, and then hates the thing that makes them have to work overtime. The fire chief, we have to do it all, and everybody has to have some of the benefit and some of the not so well. It's about making sure that that stays balanced.
Is the effect of people leaving here, particularly going over to join Surfer, is that going to have any kind of effect on some of this training we're talking about, or being able to do some of the firefighting out in wildland?
I think that will all depend on our hiring process. Until we get that done in the next few weeks, it really depends. If we hire a bunch of people that have no experience and have to go through a full academies and none of them are paramedics, that's one scenario. If we hire everybody that's an experienced lateral paramedic, that's a whole different scenario. So, to be determined, and we'll all have to get more information about that.
As long as Sean's back, maybe you could talk about 2 seconds about his experience at FDIC. We talked about it a little bit, we ran into each other.
Yeah, it was an incredible experience. I feel pretty fortunate to have gone and be a firefighter here in the Pacific Northwest because I think we're pretty progressive. A lot of the material that was covered was revisited material, maybe with an East Coast twist or a Midwest twist to it. But a lot of great speakers, a lot of great presenters. I don't know how many thousands of booths I went through, but there's like 2.5 days of vendor booths and seeing motivational speakers and just talking to the other firefighters from all over. Really enjoyed the classes. The content was A+. Like I don't know if I've ever been to anything that can top it as far as the educators, the presenters, the vendors. All the attitudes of everybody there. It's the cream of the crop, I think, all over the world. I met some firefighters from New Zealand, Nigeria, a lot of East Coast. Some people drove 10 to 12 hours to get there. Not everybody could get an airplane to be there. And then others flew all the way halfway around the world.
I know when you did, when we talked, you said that comparing us to a lot of agencies that you saw there, that we were at the same level or better than
Yes, definitely. Being on the West Coast, very, very aggressive and progressive in our training and our equipment and even our facilities.
That's good to hear.
I got not much for you. We're busy doing our normal, everyday, run-of-the-mill tasks and jobs, but nothing noteworthy or exceptional this year, so.
So, a couple things, just so that you're aware, we've been having quite a few arson and arson-related nuisance type things in the city that we're tracking with PD. I've got a meeting with the chief of police on, I believe, Thursday to discuss it and discuss how we're going to disseminate information from between us, the fire marshals, the Snohomish County Fire Marshal's Office, and PD. Just so we're kind of tracking things. I haven't had a chance to talk to BC Whitney, Mansfield Bus about last night's fire, but I know that they left a crew on until the marshal's office for continuity of evidence and stuff last night. So I haven't had a chance to talk to the investigating marshal or Whitney yet, but we're going to do that tomorrow. It's been a year since we passed an ordinance in the city basically requiring all inspection, testing, and maintenance companies to report back to the compliance engine. And in that year, they've tracked 397 properties, and of those 397, 122 are deficient, which is a big deficient, correct. So that data point kind of, we knew there was an issue, but that data point kind of speaks to the workload that's going to present itself over the next few years, certainly. There's a lot of, I'll give you, the reason at the very first point there, the Snohomish Senior Center, which is kind of a pillar of this community, a very important institution in the community. I had an opportunity to go over their report from AAA Fire Inspection, and they got dinged on quite a few things. But we're coming up with a plan for that, and there's a lot of concerns, people that are getting a hold of me, and my overarching message to them is that there's nothing that's, we've been going along this long without knowing, now we know, right? So it's just a matter of fixing the stuff that's immediate lead hazard stuff, and then the rest of it we can work out as we go. I'm very, very happy that I've got 3 inspectors in training right now to help with the actual building inspections. So this is a completely separate deal. There's existing building inspections which haven't been done, and then there's the ITM, the inspection, testing, and maintenance, and that's what's sucking up most of my time, along with doing a lot of inspections, dust sprinkler inspections, fire alarm inspections. Friday I was out for 4.5 hours just doing inspections. So, and some of that was existing stuff as well. So it's just.
So, are you just witnessing these certification tests, or are you doing?
Yes. So system inspections. So we haven't started fire and life safety inspections is what you're talking about, existing building inspections, so down the first street, whatever. Going in and saying, yes, you got to too much of that stuff. That's.
You mean like, he doesn't actually hydro, but the company doesn't, he walks. Is that what you mean?
Correct.
Yeah.
So yeah, so when somebody needs their certificate of occupancy, I'm there. I just did 41s the other day. And, verified the pressure, walked the building, made sure that sprinkler heads were the per plan, the whole 9 yards. So that's the new construction, and then there's the memory care facility on Pine, 1124 Pine. They just, in 2 of their buildings, they just had brand new fire alarm systems installed, and we had to do confidence testing and trip every smoke detector in 1 years and walk through with the contractor that did it, verify that the signaling's happening, the whole 9 yards. It's been extremely busy. So, Aaron, talk about your experience with Everett.
Yes, so I went and did a ride along with the Everett Deputy Fire Marshal with Everett Fire and Danny, and just kind of learned their process of how they go about looking at a structure and how they do annual inspections and re-inspects. We visited a lot of different facilities in the day that I rode along, and we spent a lot of time walking through, just checking what they normally look for and things that they call out. We visited high-risk facility that ends up being something that they transfer over to the companies and as well, so they're aware of risk when they go to visit these premises. And it was very holistic in what I got to see. Everything I could think of, industrial, commercial, residential, all in a matter of a day's time. And so they get a lot done, but they have a pretty good system in place. So us just getting started to see where it can go is pretty exciting. And for the prevention side, it's for the crews, the companies, and the safety of it all, it's pretty fun to watch.
So, I mean, my biggest challenge right now is I don't know when inspections are going to happen because contractors don't. They call in that day. Right? So that's been a little difficult for me to get my arms around a little bit. Just like at Station 41, the contractor finished up and we called in. And so we're trying to hit the same metrics that the city has. Within a 24-hour period, get those inspections handled so they can continue to do business and we're not holding up the process. So it's been a little bit, it's been busy. So, you know, and of those roughly 127 some odd, that's kind of, like I put in my report there, that's kind of the floor. That number is going to grow because the company, the compliance engine, they're basically doing a flyby of all addresses and through various means, which is proprietary for them. I'm assuming Google Earth, but they're verifying, among other things, God knows, AI, whatever. They're basically doing a building by building survey of Snohomish and seeing, they're looking for water gongs, they're looking for, you know, notification appliances on the outside of buildings and comparing that to what they actually have and seeing, trying to find systems that are out there that they don't have record of. And that's about a 6-week process that they're going through for that. And there's currently on First Due about 80 buildings, give or take, that we don't know exactly what they are. So we're gonna have to go burn some sheet leather and their buildings are identified, but there's question marks there. So by the end of this year, we're gonna have a very, very clear picture of Snohomish, but you can already bet that workload's going to increase a little bit. So I'll have some help. You know, we'll take 3 of the inspectors, or the 3 inspectors on a couple of fire alarm inspections and stuff like that too. So we're getting in the feet here. It's getting very real. It just goes to show you that this place is kind of neglected. You know, there are systems out there that haven't been tested in 5, 6, 7 years. So just nature beats, right? Right the ship one business at a time.
So in your strategic plan that you set up when you started this process, this whole.
You know Mike Tyson? Everyone's got a great plan until you punch them in the nose, right?
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't. At times it feels like overwhelming, but you know, it's just a one day at a time thing. You know, I don't think this office is any different. You talk to Kurt, who's a fire marshal in Everett, or you talk to Mike Messer or anybody else. It's just you get plugged right out and go through. Of those 127, are they all? You know, oh my God, they're not. But we can go through and find. You know, they're triage for us. Basically, if they're red tag, yellow tag, white tag, whatever, we can go through it and you know, hammer down on the ones that have been identified as a serious life safety risk. So.
I'm kind of like that. I'm Groundhog Day. A lot of project management with all of the things we have going on. A lot of discussions with our partners in the city or the Evergreen Grove, the county, and a lot of that. The one that I would like to hit on is our internship program. So Haley, Haley, intern. She's a UW graduate, softball player. Got to us through Erica Sensei, who's on our community advisory board and the Snohomish Education Foundation. We used to work with the athletics department on internships. So she's kind of started with us in a couple of months, but she's developing our internship program for internship. So it's been really good. I think she's a pretty good fit for doing this. She's gone through the AP class, but she definitely wants to be a firefighter, but she doesn't have that experience yet, so it's able to look at it on a fresh perspective, wanting to get in, and how do we build something for the college graduate or anything that for a college student that has no idea about fire. So that's kind of how we're building this program. So I'm pretty excited with this and hope that this will help us create a pipeline that we can always kind of have some internships going on and working on special projects and giving us that perspective that's that's new and fresh on whatever project that they're working on.
Yeah, it's nice because I'm sure that a lot of those folks are coming from either other parts of the state or other parts of the country that we would not normally have access to, which is, and that's what the fresh set of on the world says.
Athletes who.
Well, they're going to college, you know, at UW, and they got a scholarship or whatever it is, oftentimes they're coming from out of state, coming here, so. yeah.
But this kind of geared to, excuse me, target athletics.
Yeah, we're trying that as a pin, you know, trying to target that. We talked to her a lot, she started this in similarities between athletics and fire service.
Yeah.
Trying to target that audience that isn't being targeted by other price points, right? Like me, if we need to boost our recruiting, we need to not compete with every other price point. So yeah, there's nothing that says that we wouldn't take any other person, let alone all of the students, but that is the development of this, trying to target college athletes. Again, it's not excluding anybody else or only that, but that's kind of the
Just
focus.
another world, eh?
Yeah.
We had a UW hockey player riding Friday with us.
Hockey.
Yeah. Yeah, so.
The Minnesota right now.
What's that?
Is that,
I was gonna say,
are they going to be compensated? in any
Yeah, so
way?
we hire them on the part-time firefighter schedule and part-time, so, you know, talking to her, who did it, her basic thing was, if you don't compensate, you're not gonna get much. Yeah, but the only, she's like, the only time you're gonna get uncompensated is during the, you know, you're going to graduate, they have to have an internship. That's right, like if you have some thing that fulfills a graduating requirement, then you can probably say we're not gonna compensate you. But other than that, we attract. So yeah, that was what we had decided that probably we keep that back on
And
board.
it's the fair way to treat them.
Yeah, and we set bounds, and so she works roughly 18 hours a week, 3 days a week, has a set schedule, and just kind of check in. She works in the office with Sean and Alex. So regular check-in, she shadowed all the departments, she probably shadowed everybody in here, or will soon. So she's getting a pretty good mix, and then sort of mentor, a firefighter mentor with her, and Lieutenant Wolfenden volunteered as the first firefighter mentor. So she's got a mentor on the operations side, she's shadowing the BCs and training and all the chief staff and the admin staff. So trying to get a really good mix of everything in the department, not just admin, not just operations.
So then, will she be tasked with putting together a program?
Yep. And so she's building a book that will have, you know, expectations, and you go shadow the finance sheet, where it's something you need to do, and when you develop, we want to capstone project basically,
Yeah.
when you develop that, and how long you have to finish it. She's putting recruiting bags together of how she'll go out and other people after her will go out. And then we expect, obviously her main project is building this book or program for lack of a better, but then every internship updated, right? Like, you know, we have not done it before, so there's things that we feel like we should do about the normal hiring process that maybe got missed with her. So, you know, how do we onboard her? What things that she needs to be told? What things as an intern need to be told from the beginning? What policies do they need to be on? The first
Orientation.
Exactly. So she's building all that as part of the program.
Commissioners, anything?
I have a question for you. You had sent out a survey to the firefighters and paramedics, and I was wondering if you're going to share that with the board, what your results were that you found there.
We did that at our retreat.
We did that at the retreat. I did not didn't take it that way, so that was it. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy to talk to you about
Yeah.
it, if somebody, you know, one-on-one.
Yeah, I just, somehow I felt, anyway, it wasn't, I guess something just wasn't in depth, you know, for me, and it didn't just strike me. And, through that experience, I thought. So, okay, yeah, we can do that. Thank you.
No.
All right. You said MCOs at Granite. I happened to be at a commissioner meeting there because I'm the commission representative to SCEMSA. So I've been trying to go to the commissioner meetings and give them updates, and that's been interesting. To see how much they know or don't know about what is SCEMSA again? Yeah, what does that mean? And in talking to one of their commissioners, they are exploring the opportunity, or the option of building a classroom at their training. Oh, you guys already knew that.
They got that district training facility,
Yeah.
and district warehouse next door to it.
So, that's all I have to say. Thank you all. There being no further business before the board, we adjourn at 19:22, 27.